us a little bit about who is Karen.
Sure. Well, let's see. I founded Innovast Digital Marketing in 2015, but I've been working as a freelance web designer, got into content creation when social media became a thing. And we also do search engine optimization. So Innovast Digital Marketing has been running for like 7 or 8 years now. And it's been a success, fortunately. And it goes way back. And my journey of why I started Innovast was to allow me to be able to work from home because I had small children. So even back in my older kids were born in the late 80s and into the 90s. I had 5 children. And so that struggle of, your work life and your home life, and then the struggle of when you would get to work at home, the crossover of work and home life kind of overlapping and pulling you in different directions. So I've experienced all of that. But the model of Innovast is just like any other digital marketing agency, except that all of our team members work remotely. So to have that work-life balance is really what drew me into this model. And to give, we have mostly moms, actually. I have some new moms now who are working on our team. So to be able to give her, our newest mom, Stephanie, the flexibility to work when her baby's sleeping. And I think it allows everybody to give their best work, because I'm not saying I need you to produce 9 to 5 with a half an hour lunch break. We have flexibility. And if you're delivering quality work, it doesn't matter to me if you're doing it at midnight, as long as it's on time, on budget. And to have that flexibility, I think gives better work. You get better results. So
yeah, I love that. I love the fact that you, like, Innovast can provide that for people, because especially after the pandemic, I think we are more aware of that. We want more flexibility. We want to be home. We need to be home for our children, or having that balance. I feel like people are willing to work 4 days a week and have more freedom and more days with their family, and that they can do the other part of life. So I love it. So tell me about, you said that you have 5 children. If you can talk a little bit more about that. And I know that you're a grandma too.
Yes, I am a grandma. Well, it's always a tough question when I'm asked how many children I have, because I lost my oldest son. And that was in 2010. He was 23 years old, and he had just gotten married, and his wife was expecting. So we do have a gift in that I have a grandson. He's 13 now, and the spitting image of his dad. So it's kind of like it's a blessing, and it's difficult at the same time. But navigating that, you don't get a handbook on how to navigate, how to deal with that loss. Even as time goes on, it's not easy. I have 4 other children, and there was a 10-year gap between my first 4 and then my youngest. And she just left the nest, and that has not been an easy process. You have a plan for your children of what you imagine this human being that you're forming and putting out into the world, but they're really all their own people. And sometimes they listen to you, and sometimes they don't. So the challenges of just parenting and then also running a business is sometimes very draining, and sometimes you don't know, am I making the right moves or whatever. But when I see to my older kids now, and they talk about their childhoods, and all I can say is I did the best I knew at the time. And nobody can be perfect. I mean, that's one of my favorite sayings is, you weren't born with a handbook. You're figuring it out, And times change too. Even like raising a child in the 90s, is so much different today because of the technology that has such an influence on our lives. And it's my livelihood, the technology that has an
Right?
influence on our lives, you know? So it's like, I support it. It's a blessing and a curse. You know, every decision you make, you know, whether to allow your children on social media as a user or to allow photos of them out, everybody has strong opinions about that, and the safety and the risks and the benefits. And so, you know, there are a lot of challenges for moms
Yeah.
today. Yeah.
Yeah. So how you compare this experience? First, I would like to talk about that transition from being like a full-time mom and now being, have the empty nester. How was that? Like I know that you knew that was coming, especially because of the age gap. But now that your youngest is out of the
Right.
house, how do you feel? Like, I guess like there's so much silence and more time for
That,
yourself,
that
but
was
how you manage that?
that was exactly it. I mean, we have a big house, you know, and when she left, it was strangely quiet. And not only did I have my daughter, but I was used to having a, a lot of kids in the house. And so when they all moved on and everything, they were teenagers when she was small. So it was always very busy. And when she was the only one, another thing that I've done is host international students. That they come with a stipend. Now, back when I first started, that wasn't the case, but it also helps with income to have that. And I was doing the morning routine with getting her off to school and everything. So eventually we filled our other 2 bedrooms with international students, high school students, but they were kind of high maintenance because I'm parenting them. They're from China. Most of the past 7 years, I had Chinese students. And of course, they come here with culture shock and they need a lot of support. And as a host of students, you're responsible for them, getting them to their activities and their meals, just like with your own kids. So
Yeah.
that constant go, go, go was always present even while I was working. So I think that's what makes me such a great entrepreneur too, because I can juggle so much.
Yeah.
You know, I
Right.
was used to working at this level of high, you know, always being pulled, getting a lot done, you know, just being very productive and having that striving to get everything done within a time period and who goes where, when, and organize. Those are such strong skills that are valuable in the workplace. But then when my daughter graduated from high school, we stopped hosting. And I thought, oh, that would be such a lovely break. But it was so strange. And it was nice because I'm working in quiet, but also I had so much less to do. Even though my business is thriving and there's plenty to do
Uh-huh.
there, there was, and as a mom, I'm sure you know, like the kids are never out of your head, they're never out of your heart. So even when they're not present in the home, I'm still concerned about, you know, what they're doing, you
Yeah.
know, challenges that they're facing. You know, I have an older daughter that has multiple kids and she's balancing, you know, I was there, so
Yeah.
I can certainly relate to her. My younger one isn't always making the best choices. And so that causes me stress. But at the same time, it was really quiet here. Um, so anyway, we did something creative because I think entrepreneurs are always thinking of what's next or what's new or, you know,
Yeah.
how can I make the best out of my situation? And my husband, Dave, and I, we opened the extra 2 bedrooms that we have here to Airbnb. And so now
Oh,
we
that's
have adults
awesome.
come
Yeah.
and stay with us in our homes. So much easier, but our cleanliness level has to go like way
Yeah.
up, you know. So we spent a lot of time cleaning, but it also inspires you to keep your own home in good order.
Yeah.
And there's no kids like messing it up after you. So, and
That's so good.
hosting adults is much easier than kids because most of them are older people. They're respectful of the environment, and we've made great friends with some of our guests here. So
Oh, that's
that's
so
just another
nice.
sideline business that I have going along with my digital marketing agency. So
Oh wow,
yeah,
that's so fun. I love
yeah.
it. how do you see yourself that now that you have this opportunity to be a grandma? I don't know. There are people that doesn't like to be called grandma, like call me Nana or something like that. But
Yeah, no, I
now,
don't have a problem with that. You know, it's weird because just the decision to whether to like color my gray hair is more of an issue than what kids call me.
yeah,
I just want a great relationship with all of my children and grandchildren. Sometimes, you know, you have to make hard decisions that they don't like, and you always
yeah.
make a decision what you feel is in their best interest. And, you know, so those things can really age you. but, you
Now,
know,
but
it's just the challenge of growing older in general that I think is, um, you know, and still, I don't want to slow down. Like, I enjoy my work. I enjoy like family gatherings. We just had a wonderful Mother's Day brunch, and having them all come with their kids and grandkids. It's so much work, but we cook and we
yeah.
set up a big table, and it's chaos when the grandchildren are running around and screaming, but I absolutely love it. I love it.
Oh, that's so
So,
good.
so I
And
think,
that was my next question. Like, how do you see, or I don't know if you have a chance to compare yourself. You know, obviously now being a grandma, you don't have that responsibility or like feeling like, okay, this kids depend on me is very different. But do you see there is a like the approach is very different? You are more like, I know that people say like, oh, my mom was very strict with me when I was their kid, but now with my kids or their grandkids, they are so permissive and they let them do whatever they want. How do
yeah,
you
I
see
mean,
yourself?
my attitude is, and my older daughter has 3 children, and she keeps a short leash on them. And my attitude was, I wanted my kids to learn and experience different people, different cultures. You know, we hosted international students, so there were different people like right in our homes. My daughter wants a more private life. She wants more control over her kids. I kind of I get her perspective, but I also feel like you need a date night. You should be able to have even a grandma come in. Like, she doesn't let anybody. She does
Okay.
not go out, and I think there is a balance. You know, she does not go out, her and her husband.
Yeah.
With the kids, everything's
Yeah.
around the whole family unit. So I did things differently, and I think each of us. It's a funny thing.
Mhm.
Even between like my sister and I, when I think of myself being raised, my mom was a single mom. She was a bus
Mhm.
driver. We were home alone a lot. I don't think in today's world kids are like latchkey kids like that. Like they don't have like alone time so
Yeah.
much. You know, I think people feel shame if they were in a situation of leaving a kid alone now,
Mhm.
whereas it was common back then. But it's funny thing, it's my point is my sister has a very different perspective on being raised, like of our childhood. We lived in the same house in the
Mhm.
same time. We're 3 years apart.
Yeah.
She is very unhappy about how she grew up without a traditional
Mhm.
family. I took a different approach. That's all I knew. I didn't wish it to be
Mhm.
different. I just knew how it was.
Mhm.
And I think part of that being left alone to raise ourselves so much is it made me responsible, but it
Mhm.
made her angry, you
Yeah.
know. But I think with everyone's childhood and how they're raised or the way they view parenthood or how they would do it different, we all have our own lens, you know.
Yeah.
So maybe my daughter thinks I was too permissive, and she's going to correct that. You just have to let go,
Yeah.
because you don't want to beat yourself up over, gee, didn't I make the right choices? I went through a divorce also when my kids were young teenagers, my older kids. So, you know, making that decision of, do I stay in this situation, or how is this going to impact the
Yeah.
children? All of those things, you know, there were positives and negatives. You know, it was more peaceful in the home, but I couldn't do it really all alone.
Yes.
So every decision you make has a benefit
Yeah.
and a drawback. And we just gotta live it, because that's reality.
Yes,
I don't think anybody
that's
has a
like,
blessed life. And I'll tell you one thing too. On social media, things look perfect
yeah,
because we don't always share the downsides of what we're going through. And sometimes other people are involved. Like, I would love to share some of the things I've learned, but it involves other people. So I give them that privacy, and I don't, but I do share the fun times,
yeah,
the beautiful pictures, and all of that. But I think sometimes it can have a negative effect because people are comparing their real life to someone else's highlight reel.
yeah,
And here I
yes.
am, I'm a social media manager, right? That's one of the things that we do. And we make it look like that. But sometimes I feel like we're feeding into the problem. I don't know. It's a
I
double-edged
get it.
sword.
I get it. Yeah, no, it's definitely tough. So in the middle of, you know, all your responsibilities, and you touch a point about, taking care of yourself, and nurturing your relationship. What will be something, and I don't know, I guess moms out there, when they do the transition of being a woman and being a mom, it's like they lose their identity. And I feel like when the kids are gone, it's like, okay, I need to rediscover myself. Like, who am I now? Because I'm not that mom anymore. Like, do you went through that situation? There is something that you would like to recommend to moms out there?
Yeah, I think it's unavoidable that the loss of just um, having that day-to-day presence in your child's life. And then, as teenagers, naturally, they're going to want to buck the system anyway. They're going to give you strife. They're going to go against your advice and have to face the repercussions of that at times. And, we all have to go through that. But it is kind of a mourning period when you're in the quiet house. And I'm like, now what do I do? This feels so uncomfortable. When I thought about it, I actually had children in the house for a span of 35 years because I had that 10-year gap.
Yes.
When I was almost done with the first 4, I had another one, probably because I saw that empty nest coming. I don't know. But now I'm happy enjoying children. When the grandchildren come over, I adore them. I love every moment, but I don't have to have them under my feet. I don't feel
Yeah.
like I have to. My days are full. Like, we have poodles. That's, what I mean?
That's good.
Like I have dogs to take care of, and I adore them.
Yeah.
And we go hiking with our dogs, and my husband and I like cycling. So that's another thing. We'll make little day trips of bicycling somewhere. It's just kind of finding a new you. That's why it's
Yeah.
very important to nurture your relationship.
Yes.
While you're raising the kids, don't let that overtake precedence. It's just another aspect of your life. But someday those
Yeah.
children are going to leave you. And you've got to
Yeah.
like yourself and find things that you find fulfilling. Yeah.
I love that. I love that because, yes, I feel like sometimes we are so busy on our daily life and all the responsibilities that we have. Everybody's pulling us as moms to do so many things, to take care of everybody.
Yeah.
But it's so important to create that space to nurture our relationship with our husbands, because like you're saying, your kids are going to grow, they're going to find someone else, they're going to have their own life. And
Right.
if you don't nurture your relationship, then like you're going to have definitely an emptiness. Your partner is not going to be there. Sometimes people
Yeah.
stay together just because of the kids, and
Yeah.
and they feel like that commitment, just because they don't want to like divorce or put the kids until on that situation. But it's so important to nurture that relationship and understand that the way that it should be is to make sure that relationship is strong enough,
Right.
because it's a different type of love. You know, the way that your partner can fill up your cup and give you love and understanding is not the same way that your kids can do
Absolutely.
it, right?
Yeah.
So it's definitely something that we need to, you know, to spread the word and spread the message out there so moms can feel like, yeah, my kids are important and they need me, but my partner too. And I need my partner as well. Because when we get older, we want to have someone that can prepare a soup for us or that can take us to, you know,
Absolutely.
doctor
And
appointments
just
and
somebody
that can be
to
there for us.
talk to, bounce ideas off of. I mean, my mom is 82, so that's another aspect to be aware of. You know, you have this little window of time where possibly your children have grown out of the house, but your parents are aging and they will need your care and attention. And I
Yeah.
see that as my time to give back,
Mhm.
you know, to be there for my mom. When she lost her partner, that's the thing that broke my heart most. I mean, she was with a man who wasn't my dad, but somebody she was with for 35 years. And when he passed away, I was just thinking, now she's all alone in that house. Like, I thought my empty nest was bad, but at least I had my husband. She's
Yeah.
alone in a quiet house, and you know, nobody to talk to about the weather. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But and
Yeah.
little comments that you're thinking. And so I made a conscious effort to call her every single day and at least once or twice a week to have lunch with her and making
Oh, that's
time for
nice.
that. So life goes on, it evolves. Like you might think, well, gee, I have no purpose at this time. I'll tell you, something's going to come along where you're
Yeah.
going to have purpose for because you
That's
keep
right. That's
evolving.
right.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that. So now let's do like a little shift so you can tell us a little bit more. How do you help or support your clients through your business?
Sure. Sure. We're mostly women, by the way. We have one guy on our team, except for my videographers. Those are gentlemen, but they're not day to day. But day to day, we have myself, and I scope out new projects and promote Innovast. And then we have a web developer. That's all she does is build websites. We have social media content creator, and we have a graphic designer. And the four of us pretty much work every single day together and crank out projects like quickly. So one of the top complaints, I think if you're an entrepreneur, look at what are people saying why they left somebody else if they had somebody who did those kind of services and were frustrated and then came to you, right? What are the top complaints? And one of the top complaints that I heard about other web developers or people that do these services, and we provide hosting and website maintenance as well, is that when they had a change or they wanted something done, if it wasn't a big request, like a big money thing, then
Mhm.
it went a black hole that they would be waiting forever just to
Mm.
get a small change done on the website. So I think that being responsive, the fact that we process those updates, even the smallest ones, like I'll send it to Stephanie. She's my web developer. And I tell people, like, give us 48 hours, but I'm telling you, we're almost due it the same day. Like 90% of the time, I say, unless you hit me on a Friday afternoon, we're going to get that done. I don't let things pile up, and I make
Uh-huh.
sure that projects keep moving along. I don't want anything to get bottlenecked and then have frustration, make a client want to abandon a
Yeah.
project. And a lot of times clients don't know what they want. So they need
Yes.
that feedback, that guidance to kind of help them
Yeah.
through a project or to be educated to understand why would we recommend like presenting their information in a certain format because
Yeah.
Google likes it. You know, for example, Google
That's
likes
right.
it. It might sound a little awkward to say the name of the towns you serve like in your first paragraph, but Google likes it. And if you want to get business from Google, we'll put it in there. You know,
Yeah, right.
but half my job is educating, right? So that my clients understand, you know, this is why they come to me. Because if they had the time and the energy and the know-how, then they wouldn't need me. But I help to take it off their plate for them. So
Yeah.
I want them to feel like they're in good hands.
Yeah, and I did a consultation with Karen,
Yeah.
and I love the way that she's so patient and she explained, you know, everything or every single detail of why do we do this, especially because as entrepreneurs, sometimes there is like misconceptions or maybe lack of information, and it's so good to find an expert that can help us in that specific area. So definitely, if you're an entrepreneur and you need to, pick Karen's mind and see like
Oh yeah.
which ways you can improve, like feel free to. I will put her information. You can, connect with her and schedule a meeting with her. I think it will be very, very
Yeah,
helpful.
there's no charge for that initial consultation. It's like a discovery call. It's basically tell me what your business challenges are and what you'd like to achieve as far as marketing yourself and your business online. And at least you'll get feedback, even if
Yeah.
you don't choose to move forward with a project right now. At least you'll know what's out there, what kind of support and services are there that can help you eventually when you're ready. It's a lot of new business people or moms that are starting a side gig. They need a little bit of guidance and they may not have the budget right now, but I think it's important to educate people. I mean, that we do a newsletter where we have Wednesday tips. Every Wednesday I put an email out that kind of gives you an idea to focus on or a topic that would help promote your business. So if you don't have the budget, you could still focus and know that this is something I should be doing or talking about, or this is more effective to do something this way versus that. And for those that do have the budget, at least they'll understand this is what we go by. This is the things that are important, and this is why it's worth paying for this.
Yeah, no,
because,
definitely, absolutely.
yeah, if you're
Absolutely.
running a business, and especially you're running a home and a business, and you only have so much time.
Right?
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, there's so much that one person can do. Definitely.
And knowledge too, right? You know what you do best. It's like, that's why I pay a bookkeeper and an accountant. It's like, I know how to do it, but it isn't fun to me.
Yeah, right.
And I'll make more money spending that hour that I would be doing on my books every week. I'll make more money if I do what I do best and spend that time educating myself on the newest practices or what's working best in Google. And in this business, you have to stay educated and up to date with what's going on in technology.
Especially, technology that like it's like changing every day. Every day there's something new. Every day is a new trend. It's a lot of
So
work.
time is money. And if you have a block of time, look at it like I could be doing something that's out of my wheelhouse and I'm struggling because I don't really know it all that well. Or I can work on becoming an expert in one thing that I can help others with and just keep working. Like that's what it took for me to learn web design back in 2002. And I went to Rhode Island School of Design and I went to school night classes. And then I did my homework when my kids were sleeping. It's like you've got to push yourself or find the time. But all of those little steps and sacrifices, if you stay consistent, don't give up. It pays off.
Definitely. I needed that. I needed that today.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, like people, especially you self-doubt. Sometimes I feel like a therapist to my clients because I'm telling you, you might be so close to the point where your business takes off, but people get frustrated, especially with social media marketing. They're like, if you don't see the results right away, you're like, should I keep doing this? No, you have to keep doing it. And doing things like these lives is very effective, and doing reels and short form videos because the algorithm gets you in front of people who don't know who you are yet. And so don't give up. But if you don't keep up with the latest trends and know that, okay, short form video, more people who don't know me will see me. But if I just keep putting up a picture and a caption, then people have to stumble across my brand to follow me. It's a much slower pace. It still works, but it's a much slower pace to get results. And people don't always call you when they first come across you, right? They have to really get to know, like, and trust you. And by sharing your expertise, that's how you get it out there. So social media
And I
can
feel
work.
it's a lot of repetition. Sometimes I feel bad because I feel like you don't have to say it so much, but yes, you need to. Like you need, because sometimes I even feel like stories they are not like effective because people keep like, moving to the next. And sometimes it helps me to send a direct message.
Yeah.
And people are, oh my God, I didn't see these. Yeah,
But you're
thank you. So,
bringing it
you,
top of mind
yeah,
again. And every
yeah,
time people think of you or your brand, it's just another occurrence where it's ironing in their brain. So when they know of somebody or themselves need what you offer, then you'll be
yeah,
top of mind because you're present in their feed all the time.
yeah,
It's like that billboard on the highway, right? For that personal
yeah,
injury attorney, you don't need it until you need it. And then who are you
yeah,
going to think of? It's the one you see all
yes,
the time.
yeah,
Consistency. Yeah.
yes, you're right. I love that. I love how you like put all that information over there.
Yeah.
Is there anything that I know that you being like very encouraging and saying advice and a lot of information, but something that you would like to like say, like if you don't remember anything of this life, remember about this, like any advice, any tip for those moms that are seeing us out there from professional and a mom of five, a grandma with all your experience. So yeah, hit us with something.
Yeah. I think it's be consistent. Consistency is important. So that's like number one, to be consistently out there. If you can't get to in-person networking events, then do online things like this or whenever you can find the time, but also to know when to outsource because you can't do it all. You can't, time is money. You only have so much time.
Yeah.
And when you outsource and you have somebody else helping you and you're paying them less than you make, then okay, that's smart investment because you're getting more out of that time than you could do yourself because you just can't spread yourself that thin,
Yeah.
and you can just get more done.
Yeah.
So we have to be creative with ways to get so much done because a lot of times we have a lot on our plate. And when your kids are small, your kids come first.
Yeah.
And you still want to grow that business, but if you have some help,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
doable.
Yes, it is. And especially because there are certain things that we can definitely don't can delegate. So delegate the ones that you can. Like you were saying, use people that have that expertise that can do things like way faster than you because maybe sometimes you're on the phone and you're trying to call the doctor, but then the kids needs you or they make a mess, they spill the milk, you have to hang up. It's a lot of things. So
Exactly.
finding ways to delegate, I think it's important. And like you're saying, being consistent, but definitely outsource and ask for help. Recognize when you're like, okay, I definitely have too much on my plate. I
Absolutely.
cannot keep doing this because it's not a luxury to to compromise your time and the memories with your children just because you don't want to ask for help or you don't want to
Sure.
feel like if I ask for help then I'm not a good
Yeah.
mom. So please
That the
shame
years
off
go
of you.
by so quickly. It's in a flash when you remember when your kids were in diapers and then they're too big for you. They won't want to sit on your lap
Yeah,
forever.
right.
So cherish all of those little moments. And I always say take a lot of pictures,
Yeah.
it'll bring you back when you have quiet time and you
uh,
can look at those things. But, grandchildren do bring new joy and life is a wonderful journey. And there are some, I would say it's like a roller coaster, there are some
yeah,
pitfalls and some sad times where you wonder, am I ever going to get through this? But happy things happen again. And there's new things happening and it's always changing, and just to be resilient and just if you're having a struggle, just ask for help, get help, in any way you can afford it or make it work, and
yeah,
you'll get through it because life does change, things will get easier. And if
yeah,
you grow a business, even though I started Innovast to be at home with my children, I was working for an outside agency and I had to be there 9 to 5 with that half an hour lunch. And my kids would have things at school that I wasn't allowed out for, or doctor's appointments, things like that.
Mhm.
But then I could do it on my own way. way. But now I have a thriving business that is nice to be at home because I can get laundry done and I can walk the dog in the afternoon. You know what I mean? So I've built a life that was initially just based around my children, but now it's something that I have, and I'm happy to live this way and not have to go sit in an office in a cubicle every day. So
Yeah, and if you did it like long time ago, like when technology was not that big,
right.
I think it's inspiring to see that a mom with, you know, having a job and a business and your kids, you know, like a house, your husband, you were able to do it. So I feel
Yeah.
like for those moms that are watching that maybe you feel like, I cannot make it happen. I cannot do it. Yes, you can. Just put one foot in front of the other and be consistent.
Yep.
Little things every day, baby steps, you will
Exactly.
make it happen. You will make it happen.
Have a good night's sleep and start fresh again tomorrow.
Yeah, right. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Karen, I really appreciate your time and sharing your story. You know, like sharing your life experiences and your vulnerability. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you for joining me in this series. And I will put all your information on the description
Perfect.
so people can connect with you. And yeah, I really appreciate this. Thank you very
Thanks
much.
so much for inviting me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Take
Okay,
care.
take care.
Bye.
Bye.